Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is To Back or Not to Back. We're going to go through a variety of crowdfunding campaigns, the games, the pledge levels, the stretch goals, all of that and more, although not yet on the should you back it part. I've had a few people over the past few weeks ask me if I'm ever going to be doing that whole value, should you back it, doesn't make sense stuff again, and the answer is yes, I do plan on going back to it. If you're not familiar, that's the part where I'm like, oh, this will be cheaper at retail, maybe get it, this does hold its value, this doesn't. I've held off on doing it for the past several weeks because, frankly, as long as tariffs are in the conversation, it's kind of impossible to give any sort of advice as to get it or not. The most basic idea being that if tariffs are to stay in play, then the games you get on crowdfunding might actually be the cheapest opportunity if MSRPs do go up and it's harder to get them at retail. But if tariffs don't stay in play, then they won't, which makes it very hard to give any kind of predictable advice around that aspect, which is why it's kind of been semi on hold for the past few weeks, and likely will still be on hold until tariffs leave the conversation, hopefully permanently, but, you know, temporary is always a possibility. Supposedly, there's talks going on right now, supposedly, like, there's agreements being reached and all those things, but honestly, until things actually happen, nothing's actually happening. Whatever. We're going to go ahead and dive into this. Let's go ahead and start off as we usually do with our Cult of the Now, where we can avoid all this entire conversation around the state of uncertainty, and rather you can get Tokaido from Stonemaier Games, who did pick up the license for the game, also adding some things like they added a solo mode into it, available for $25, which is a very reasonable price point for this game from Miniature Market. So if you want to check out a game you can get now, a game that's been around for a while and been in through multiple print runs and generally well received, although definitely on the lighter side too, just know what you're getting yourself into, that is Tokaido available in our Cult of the Now. With that, we're going to go ahead and dive into, I think, 12 campaigns we have today. We have one in the Not Yet Funding, we have one in the Board Game Adjacent, and then we have 10 to go over in the typical crowdfunding campaigns. Not a lot of big campaigns this week, I will say that. I think like the biggest we have is probably Sprites and Sprouts, maybe Aeon's End, maybe that one, Beyond the Breach or whatever it is. So we have a few medium-ish campaigns, but nothing super large. But let's go ahead and start off with our Not Yet Funding. Our Not Yet Funding is actually at 86,000 euro raise, which is usually like a funded campaign, but they have a 100,000 euro goal on this, so that's going to be a AVGhost Paranormal Investigation 2nd edition over here. Now, I've seen, we did a gameplay on the channel, and we got a lot of comments about like, this game hasn't delivered and all that stuff, which there's truth to that, but the company that has this game picked it up from the previous company, and they're also saying that, hey, if the game funds, people who didn't get their game from the last campaign, which isn't everyone, but is some people, they'll get a free copy from what I can see. So like from what they're saying in the campaign page, it sounds like they're going to give a free copy over here. So by all means, any frustration you have is reasonable. Just make sure you're directing it at the right parties, because the people who are doing this campaign are not the people who didn't deliver the last game. That said, AVGhost is a paranormal investigation game. It's a cooperative game of wandering off into a mansion, or not necessarily mansion, any sort of house over here, and then going through the situation over there. There's haunting, there's ghosts, there's some sort of, you know, backstory as to what's going on as the various investigators wander around. There's two phases of the game. You're going to be starting off with the phase where you kind of hear the story and then figure out how to set up for the night, and then you wander into the night where all the scary things happen and the ghosts show up, and you have to go ahead and resolve the various storylines and mysteries and see if you were able to uncover where and what is happening in the house. Basically cooperative. Can think Mansions of Madness, but a little bit more into the investigative horror sense, as opposed to a little less into the combat. Although I guess Mansions of Madness it's Mansions of Madness adjacent, very adjacent to that gameplay experience. 476 backers, 11 days left to go. This will almost certainly fund, but just based on where it is and how much time is left, but it is in the not yet funded category. There's a few pledge levels. We're not going to go heavily into them. Again, not funding, I don't go in as much into detail, but we have 200 euro for the Ultimate Fair Experience. That's the core game as well as the 2 new expansions. The 2 new expansions over here, expansion 1 and 2 over here, 40 euro each. These are each giving you a new case file that is split across 3 cases. So if you play the game, an individual case might last anywhere from like, 90 minutes to 3 hours, but these cases are all like 8-hour long cases split into like, I believe 3 each. So like it's a case split into 3 modules, giving you a larger storyline in these 2 expansions. Outside of that, there's the Return to the Lair of the Doom, upgrading your 1st edition, but not with new miniatures. The Evil Never Dies, upgrading your 1st edition, but with miniatures too. Don't Get Inside, which is the standee version of the game, and then 125 euro for the full-on base miniatures game over here. That's basically what we got over here. As far as delivery over here, delivery is going to have their various costs over here. So USA is going to be $29 to 50 euro, depending on the price point you're getting over there, depending on the pledge level you're getting. And then as far as tariffs, they basically say, and again, this is going to be common for most of the campaigns we cover today. There are some exceptions, but most of the campaigns are taking a we are waiting and seeing, and then depending on tariffs, what happens with tariffs, we'll either partially split that cost with you, or you'll have to just, there'll be a tariff fee in place. In their cases over here, they have, where's the thing, that will be applied, no tariffs. I always do this part where I can't remember exactly where I put the tariffs, or where they put the tariffs, I should say, but there was a thing on tariffs, shipping, taxes, deliveries. Currently, uncertainty regarding customs duty is difficult to predict. If it's affected by tariffs, we'll do everything we can to protect our backers, and they'll do our best to cover a portion of the fees. So they're going for one of those partial splits as far as tariffs when this funds. And again, it almost certainly will fund, just based on where it is. From there, we go into the board game adjacent category. We have $14.90 Doom from Bureau Games. $108,000 raised, 645 backers, 15 days left to go. This is very much a miniatures game, which means I won't be going much over the gameplay on this. It's a miniatures game. It's a little bit like, it's not a board game with miniatures. It's more of a miniatures game, and it's got cool miniatures and a ton of pledge levels over here. Oh, and this is part over here, which is honestly the coolest part for me, because I'm not really interested in the game personally. But we have Napoleon Dynamite, who's also known as John Heder over here. He basically has a testimonial for the game. Apparently he plays board games, and this has been a game that he's giving some sort of vague testimonial for, which also is kind of random for me, because I think the last time I heard anything to do with Napoleon Dynamite was, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever. And then like a week ago, I saw this random reel from Napoleon Dynamite of putting his garbage away, falling over, and going, duh, whatever it is. I just saw a random reel from him, and I haven't seen it in like 10 years, and then suddenly 2 days later, I'm looking at this, and he shows up on a campaign page. So now I'm trying to figure out exactly where he's been hiding this entire time, that he just suddenly shows up twice in 1 week, after me not being aware of his existence for a really, really long time. That's the most exciting thing about this page, for me, not for you. If you're interested in miniatures games, there's a lot more exciting things. I just there's STLs, there's miniatures, there's $400 all in, stretch goals, pledge levels, add-ons, all those various things over here, making sure you're informed of it in case you are a miniatures game person. From there, we dive into our regular campaign, starting off with MonToons Guardians of the Coral Isles, 120 backers, $1,500 raised. This is an expansion to MonToons, giving you, more content, little more mini Guardians and stuff like that, as well as more boards and maps in new content for the game, as well as, of course, an opportunity to get it the first time round if you missed out on the first time round. And this is very much a kind of roll and write style, dice throne-esque game, but with a skirmish aspect to it. It's a lot going on for a print and play game. But basically, you are going to have these maps, you are going to be rolling dice each turn, you can be assigning them to your unique guardians as far as their various spots on the board, and you win by either being the last player standing, or alternatively by, I can't remember the name for them, but there's 4 guardian signs or whatever it is. There's a variety of signs you can get on your map, and if you're able to cross off enough of them, then you'll be able to win that way too. So that puts the pressure on the players. There are 2 ways to win. It's not just about being the strongest in the battlefield, there's multiple things you're balancing. That's the general idea of the game. You have a whole bunch of guardians, a whole bunch of maps, a whole bunch of everything going on, and then the expansion content over here, if we see where's the new content, the new content is basically giving you, over here, we got the bonus guardians, the utility guardians, special guardians. These are all going to slot under your special attacks, giving you extra things in the game, as well as 3 blight-infused battle maps. So more content, more variation to the experience. If you were bored of the already tons of variation to the experience, as well as the fact that, by the way, if you do back this, they do put out new content on a regular basis, and if you back the $25 pledge level, that's going to give you all the previous content, the new Guardians expansion, as well as all 2025 content. Any content after that, you can buy in future campaigns, I assume. That's basically what we got for MonToons over here. As far as, shipping, there is none. Tariffs, there is none. That's all the benefits of print and play, and that's basically MonToons. From there, we have Casus Belli by Wallace Design. $71,000 raised, 600 backers, 9 days left to go. Casus Belli is a 4X game from Martin Wallace, who is a very popular designer. Popular for, the number 1 ranked game in the world currently is Brass Birmingham, or Brass Lancashire, one of those two. Brass Birmingham, I think it is. But designed by Martin Wallace. He's done a ton of other games, from A Few Acres of Snow to London to, I don't even know. He's a lot of games under his belt. But Casus Belli is his newest game from his own company, and it's a 4X space game of, exploration, settlement, warfare, asymmetric factions, all of that. They do have lengthy how to plays in the campaign if you want to check out that. But generally, it's going to be a 4X game with a lot of those elements. One of the things that I really liked about it is, where was it? No, not that part. There was an element I really liked, if I can find the how to play section down here. What's in the box? How to play. If I go to the how to play, there was a section I appreciate the concept of. Where is it? No, it's not here. There's a thing about corruption, and if you, like, leaning too far into things, then that can have a negative impact, but you can lean into your own corruption. Let's see. War breaks out, end of the game. Each faction, oh, there we go. Each faction will explore and colonize the systems in the region. In doing so, they'll come across ancient alien technologies. However, some of these technologies will lead to corruption. I always appreciate a good trade-off between power and the negative effects of power, which I like those concepts in games. Anyways, as far as the rewards over here, we have the Starbase for $69, Sleeper Agent for $6. This is basically a support the campaign kind of thing. Fleet Command, which is just the miniatures. This is just the miniatures. This is not the miniatures pledge. This is just the miniatures, which 4 people backed. So if you are someone who backed this, I hope you know that you're just getting the miniatures, and it's not that you're getting the miniatures version of the game. Cold War over here is going to give you the core game plus the miniatures box for $154. That's the pledge that, like, at least one of those 4 people probably wants the Cold War pledge and doesn't realize that they're just getting the miniatures. Maybe more than one, but I assume at least one of them. It always happens. These things, confusions abound, and the question is, like, what's more likely? That 4 people just want miniatures for this game, or that at least one person accidentally thought it's the deluxe pledge? I do wonder if that one person watches this video. If you are that one person and you are watching this video and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe I did that, please comment down below. Not for shame, it happens to all of us. We've all done stuff like that. I'm just curious. Like, every once in a while I'll call out certain pledges as being like, that doesn't make sense. Are people doing this? And I'm always curious if anyone actually is like, oh, that's me, and changes it. So yeah, we'll see. Anyways, that's basically what we got over here. That's the pledge. Oh, and the special offer is also going to give you the playmat as well for an additional $25 on top of that Cold War pledge. As far as shipping, tariffs, all that, also shipping over here is going to be, depending, $16 for USA, but again, depending on where you are. And then as far as tariffs, they basically say, hey, we're taking a wait and see. We're not charging anything right away, and it sounds like there likely will be some degree of tariffs costs. They don't really make any specific guarantees one way or the other. They do point to a recent campaign as an example of something they have done, but there's no real guarantees. There's like, hey, things are, well, we're not charging anything right now, and GameHunt gives the ability to push it off down the road, and we'll do that then. So hopefully this won't be an issue, and we'll see later. Then we have Seas of Havoc, Reprint, and First Mates expansion. $90,000 raised, 1,200 backers, 12 days to go. Coming to you from Rock Manor Games, Seas of Havoc is the deck-building piratey adventure in which you're going to be building a deck, visiting various locations, and moving your ship around the board as you outmaneuver each opponent through playing cards and trying to basically get, lined up for that broadside so you can hit them with a blast of your cannons, and that's not really the main point of the game. That's just one aspect of the game, and then basically try to get as many points as possible in there, while trying to maintain control of flags, because you have these cards that get more powerful with flags, and that's kind of cool. All these kinds of fun things going on in it. It's a fun little piratey adventure deck building game system. The pledges over here, well, actually, let's cover what's new. The what's new is going to be the First Mates expansion, giving you a bunch of new content for the game, although there's some things that are not just gameplay related, like inserts and cool stuff like that. We'll show you that soon. But we have the First Mate cards, giving you extra ways to customize your starting deck over here, so more customization to your starting cards. We have 2 new captains, giving you more variety to the captains in the game. We have new market cards, wild flags. I kind of briefly mentioned those flags over there, but some cards are stronger with flags, but players can kind of take those flags from you, making your deck a little weaker. But we have these wild flags over here, giving you a way around that. We have ship upgrade tech trees. Tech trees are always fun. I mean, they're usually fun. We have deck upgrades and challenge cards, advanced sea monster cards, and those are the various tons of just modular stuff being added to the expansion content for this game. As far as how to play, you can check out that. This basically, setup is island phase, sea phase. I'm just saying the words over here. It's a deck building game. It's a deck building game where you're going to be building a better deck and wandering around, going to various locations to further improve and build a better deck and just better dominate the 7 seas, or 1 sea. It's really just 1 sea in this game, but it's the concept of the 7 seas. It's the Havoc seas, Seas of Havoc, so to speak. Anyways, as far as shipping for the game, we didn't even go to pledge levels. Let's go to pledges. Pledges over here. Pledges. We have $70 for the Quartermaster. This is giving you the basic game as well as the original expansion. This is not for the new stuff. This is the Sea Monster expansion, not new content. We have the Captain giving you the deluxe edition of the game as well as the expansion. Again, not the new content. These are just older things over here. Then we have the Admiral pledge giving you the gameplay all in. This does give you the First Mates expansion, not the deluxe version of the game, the basic version of the game, the original expansion, and the First Mates expansion for $112. But that's basically the gameplay focus. Treasure Island is $169 for basically everything. And then we have returning backer pledges. These are things that are available for you. Well, I mean, technically available to anyone, but they might be more interesting to you if you are someone who already has content for the game. We have the First Mate for $18, plain and simple. Here's the extra content. content, nothing too crazy about it. We have the First Mate Plus Revision Kit. This addresses the errata and balance from the original game for $29. And then we have all the new stuff for $65. This is giving you that cool little illustrated premium insert as well, plus all the other stuff as well. As far as shipping on the game, shipping's going to run you anywhere from $10 to $15 in the US, and then of course check your local region for whatever amount you're paying over there. And then as far as tariffs, where's the tariff little line over here? We have note about tariffs. We are committed to splitting tariffs with our US backers. So if there are tariffs, they will split them, but that's not going to be relevant right now. So again, it's kind of a wait and see, and we'll split them with you in case they are relevant. And so that is going to be Seas of Havoc, Reprint, and First Mate's expansion. Then we have Reforest Old Growth, 920 backers, 13 days to go, $38,000 raised. Reforest Old Growth, which basically looks like it's the gameplay of Forest Shuffle, and then the card design of Wingspan, and there you have a Reforest Old Growth. Now, I'm not trying to be too mean. I do feel that if you look at how this game is played and what the game looks like, I feel that's a fairly accurate assessment. It is the card design of Wingspan and the gameplay of Forest Shuffle, less the fact that cards have 4 different sides. It's honestly like a simplified version of Forest Shuffle. I haven't played the game. I haven't played, but just looking at how this game plays. But this Reforest, this is the original game plus an expansion to it, so the game is available. You can check it out. I believe it's rated a 7.9 on Board Game Geek, so it is well enough received. Like, derivative or not, lots of games are derivative and do well, and this one does seem to be a little derivative and, rated well. That's an 8.0. I thought it was a 7.9. I could be wrong with that. Honestly, this might be just old, or maybe I'm wrong. Both things are possible. But Reforest is basically, you build your own tableau. You have your cards, you're playing out your cards, you can play cards based on previous cards, will provide a foundation at times, otherwise you have to pay various costs. Depending on how you slot things, they'll give you extra points there. It's a tableau building game where you're basically building out your own little puzzle, and then you're trying to score better than the other players who are also building out their own little puzzles as you go through it. The base game over here is going to be $54. That's not true, that's for everything. The base game is going to be $20 for the Reforest base game over here. Fits in your pocket, easy to travel with, pretty accessible, just all the good things there. And if you want the base game and expansion, that's going to be $54. And if you want just the expansion, that's going to be $34, as well as that big box that comes with it, because you can't fit the base game and expansion in your pocket the same way you were able to fit the base game. Although you do have 2 pockets, so you might be able to do more than you think, but nonetheless, you'll get this cool box with it. That's basically what we got for Reforest. Shipping over here, shipping is going to run you around 16 to 20, but against Canadian dollars, by the way, but let's say go to the US over here. $14 to $16 on the US side. That little extra smaller number there is the tariff section. They're kind of estimating tariffs. They're like saying, hey, hopefully they won't be in place, but if they are, here's the rough cost you'll have to pay instead. So they are kind of giving you the outline of what you'll currently have to pay, although again, everything's unpredictable, everything's subject to change. That is going to be a Reforest over here. Moving on, we have Reina Knizia's Whale Riders, Tariff Relief Kickstarter. I won't be going too heavily into this one. This is kind of just nothing really new here. I guess it's the second edition of the game, but this is Whale Riders and Whale Riders the card game. It does have a second edition, so I'll touch upon the changes over there, but it's a design from Reina Knizia that was put out by Grail Games, and it looks like AVGhost now has the production rights or something. They have a little note in it, but they're like, hey, we got all the support for this, like, currently we're printing it, and we have license to distribute it and print it in various regions, so it's basically the same game, although it is a second edition to clean up some small things. We'll show you that soon. But this is a Tariff Relief Kickstarter. Basically over here, you're going to be paying this price, $47 to get Whale Riders, as well as the Whale Riders card game. This price includes shipping, so if you are paying this, like, this includes shipping. There's no extra shipping on this. This is basically to the US only, and you just pay $47 and you get all that. Plain and simple, straight to the point. It is meant to be a tariff relief Kickstarter over here, providing them a little bit of extra funds to deal with the various tariffs. So there are no actual tariffs on this. The price you see is the price you get. It's plain, simple, straightforward. So I mentioned that there are some exceptions to the whole splitting and waiting and seeing. This is a good example of that. But you are a whale rider. For generations, people have known and lived with the ice whales. You're basically running around the board. You have 2 actions per turn. You're trying to basically gather goods and trade them in. That's the basic idea of the game, but very, very loose overview. Whale Riders, the card game, is actually a re-implementation of an older Knizia design that is thematically somewhat similar to Whale Riders, which is a testament to the idea that Knizia's titles are pasted on themes, if I ever saw one. The idea that you could take another one of his designs and re-theme it to basically fit into a set of his new design and call it a bundle. Knizia is, brilliant in many ways, but his games definitely are very much pasted on themes and exercises in a lot of math that can be a lot of fun in many cases. But those are the basic idea of the 2 games, or very, very minimal idea of the 2 games. Over here we have the note on the 8 release changes over here. They talk about the differences. The stretch goal expansions are now included in the base game from the original crowdfunding campaign, as well as there's some card art changes where previously these 3 cards, the standard, original, and original bonus over here, these were a little too similar at a glance, and they've now made it so the standard is this, this, and we have the new Blizzard and the new bonus cards, so some small changes to the second edition, but nothing crazy. It's basically the same game with some small graphic design updates. There's no shipping, there's no tariffs to go through because we already covered that in that all-inclusive, all-in-one price, and with that, we go to Panda Spin, Mandate of Heaven. 638 backers, $13,000 raised, 15 days to go. I didn't even know this was coming to crowdfunding this week. Well, many games I didn't know, but I put out a review for Panda Spin this past week, not realizing that there was an upcoming crowdfunding, there's an active crowdfunding campaign when I did so. So, you can check that out if you want to get my opinion on Panda Spin. And honestly, Mandate of Heaven, I feel this would further enhance my opinion of Panda Spin, because I already like Panda Spin. My biggest complaint was they're basically playing the same game every single time. Nothing really mixes up the experience. And Mandate of Heaven is going to very much mix up the experience with the extra abilities and gameplay shifts it provides with that expansion. This is a random side note to a game I haven't really told you about yet. 638.9 backers, $13,000 raised, 15 days to go. Panda Spin is a hand shedding game, or a card shedding game, falling under the category of trick taking games. Basically, you're going to have your hand of cards, and you're playing cards in these sets to basically shed your cards. So you can play a card, and then you can play a higher number of cards, or no, same number of cards, but a higher set basically of whatever person plays. So if I play a 4, 5, 6, you can play a 7, 8, 9. If I play 3 2s, you can play 3 4s. Things like that as you try to basically outpace the set that the person played. One of the tricks of it though is when you lose, you spin, hence the name Panda Spin, you spin those cards that you lost and put them back in your hand. I am oversimplifying this to make it quick. There's notes, there's exceptions, all those things. But the basic idea is, in general, when you lose, the cards go back in your hand, they become more powerful. So there's times where you want to lose, there's times where you don't mind losing, and there's times where you end up with a much better hand and can go ahead and play a bomb or whatever it is as you try to be the first person to get rid of your cards, or at least have very few cards left when you go out. That's the basic idea of Panda Spin. Play till like 15 points over there, a few other things going on, but it's very much a management of your hand. The new expansion is going to add all these abilities basically that give you ways of breaking the game in all different ways, a whole bunch of different cards that give you different things going on, just things that mix up the experience and make it crazy. Exactly, again, if you watch my review's like, I like this game a lot, but it's very much the exact same thing every single time you play. And this Mandate of Heaven is these 12 animals of Zodiac, each ready to prove their worth above the age. That's just thematic text over here. They basically give you extra abilities that will mix up the gameplay. As far as the pledge levels, we have the $9 for the Panda Spin Deluxe expansion. There is a pickup at Essen option as well if you don't want to pay shipping on that. Then we have over here, we have the Angry Panda pledge for $18, giving you the base game, and then we have the base game and the expansion for $24 for the base game and the expansion if you want all of that. Shipping over here, shipping's going to be covered down here, giving you the breakdown. Again, $9 to US backers, but again, everything depends over here for, what is this United States Plus? I don't know what the United States Plus is, but United States regular is going to be $9 over here for the US, $9 US. And then for tariffs, prices shown on the campaign page are net. They will be increased by tariffs. USA backers will have to pay a tariff fee. So basically they're saying, hey, any tariffs in place, US backers are going to pay for US tariffs. I will say in general, I've seen more, not exclusive, but I've seen more people going with the, hey, US backers pay for the US tariffs, and other people don't, which I'm totally fine with. As a person who lives in the US, I'm fine with that. I think it makes sense. I think for a long time, US backers said, we don't want to subsidize that, and now the tides have turned, and fair play. Anyways, food truck race, a simultaneous play cooking game. 750 backers, $56,000 raised, 17 days to go. Outcook, outsweat, and outsmart in this game, which is basically promising to be overcooked in a board game form. Basically, you have these orders coming along. You have to try to fill those orders, all while managing your tableau, upgrading your equipment, and trying to outpace the game, or basically just be the best food truck in the city, managing all the various people. First time creator over here from Gregory Alford. Overall, looking very good for a first time project. Again, just the 758 backers, $57,000 raised. We have one core pledge over here, which is the $45 for the base game of the base game. We have Dinner for 6 for $69, giving you the expansion, and then we have the puzzle. If you want the puzzle and extra card pack over here for $99, that's going to be this pledge level, and I think that was the main one. I don't think there's anything else that was that reasonable. Like everything else is like, crazy stuff. But anyways, those are the 3 basic pledge levels: basic with expansion, and then with puzzle, expansion, and promo thing as well. That's the basic idea as far as the pledge levels. As far as the game, do we have anything to go over otherwise? We have stretch goals. So all the stretch goals being unlocked over here, and they are unlocking a bunch of stuff. Again, the campaign's doing fairly well, all things considered. We have estimated shipping, $16 to $20 for the game, and then tariffs they basically cover under the risk section, maybe. Nope. After find these things, always tariffs. all the tariffs. Okay, basically they say price the most popular. I believe they said tariffs are included, that they're just subsidizing all tariffs. I believe they said that. All food truck race price to include current U.S. import tariffs. So basically they say, hey, all tariffs are included in the price point of the game, and that's just so no tariffs. You just have to pay shipping and the price of the game. That's going to be a food truck race. Then we have Aeon's End Beyond the Breach from Indie Boards and Cards, the newest and latest Aeon End campaign. $225,000 raised, 1,600 backers, 1,700 backers, 19 days left to go. Aeon's End Beyond the Breach gives you another new wave of Aeon's End content. If you haven't played Aeon's End, it is a cooperative deck building game in which you go head to head against a nemesis with any number of breach mages to try to take them on in a fixed market deck building game, which you're going to be building your deck from 9 fixed market cards comprising of spells, artifacts, and gems, providing your currency, your utility, and then your straight up offense as you try to power up, build your breaches, open up your breaches to be able to cast more and more spells, all while the nemesis is powering up, but so are the mages, and trying to outpace them in this game. There's a ton of variety from the characters you play, from the nemesis you play against. Now in this campaign, there's the friends and foes. Those are going to be things you can add, where you can add a friend and a foe to the game that are going to make your life a little harder and a little easier for the friend and the foe respectively, and you can mix that up to providing even more variety to the gameplay experience. And included in all of that, there's also going to be a kind of a campaign arc to this game, not legacy content, but unlockable content as you go through a series of stories and adventures of the various characters in the game. Plus there's more stuff. There's like level 5 bosses, there's level 4 treasures, there's other additional things being added to the game. In fact, that could be under the What's New section. So we have Expedition Battle 5 and level 4 treasures. We have new trinkets over here. Trinkets are a card type that gives you this little kind of like fun little one-time use, but also once your deck is more powerful, they clog your deck. So pros and cons as far as those go. And that's basically what we got for the base game over here. Let's go to the what's inside over here. What's inside over here, we have the we have Aeon's End, new narrative, 4 new nemesis, 6 new mages, plus 3 new friends, 3 new foes with over 400 cards. That's the base game of Beyond the Breach. Then we have Aeon's End the Surface. There's going to be 2 new mages, a new nemesis, new friend, and a new foe, bringing you to 4 friends and 4 foes, another nemesis and new mages. And then we have the Aeon's End the Returned. This is going to be the stretch goal content that is unlocked throughout the course of the campaign. You can see some of that, but there's obviously going to be more to come as we go through it. But you can see some of them. We have a new foe, new spell, new treasures, new friend, new gem. So new content, again, further adding to your gameplay stuff. And then, of course, because it's Aeon's End, you can get additional waves of content. The way they generally do these things, they have just the new stuff, which is the all the new stuff in this pledge level, from playmat to basically all the things going on. We have the Jewel Shrapnel for $75, which is the base game and those 2 expansions, a preset expansion, and then the stretch goal content for $75. And then for every additional $70, you can do the math, but it's just $70 every time. Every additional $70 gets you previous content for Aeon's End, but plus 1 wave. So Tearstone Amulet is Aeon's End, this campaign, plus a wave of content, all the way up to going up to the 8 waves. So you have Attorney's Echo, which is all the new stuff, plus 8 waves of content. What is a wave of content? A wave of content is basically all of these. They show it. They show where did they show it? They showed it somewhere. Here we go. Here are the waves of content. So waves of content are going to be these. It shows you, again, kind of the same arc over here, where you have the base game, the preset expansion, and then the stretch goal content from previous campaigns all bundled up here. The 2 ones that break that mold are going to be the legacy games, so you have Aeon's End Legacy and Aeon's End Legacy of Gravehold. So if you want those are an additional $10 surcharge, so it's not $70, it becomes $80. But to make your life easier, they just call it a $10 surcharge instead of having different pledge levels. But basically, for each wave you buy, you can get one of these bundles in addition to the already existing content. So just to expand whatever content you are missing in your Aeon's End collection, assuming you want all of it, or if you want specific content, or any of those options. And that's basically what we got for Aeon's End. Deck building game, tons of content, tons of expandable stuff. There's 2 legacy games, a whole bunch of campaign unlockable content, and just a near infinite variety. Not actual infinite, but at this point, it's a lot. It's a lot of cards, a lot of nemesis, a lot of characters, a lot of different spells and things being added to the game. Just a lot of stuff. As far as the shipping over here, shipping is going to be bundled on this table. There's a lot of things to break down depending on the amount of content you're getting, but at the base core over here, US is going to be $20 for the pledge level for the $75 pledge level content. So straightforward, $20, that's there, and then it just goes up and up and up as you get more waves of content. As far as tariffs, for the US, we will be charging for tariffs. For each pledge level, we have a range listed, so they kind of show you what you're looking to roughly pay for the tariffs, if those are in place. So basically, yeah, if tariffs are in place, you will be paying for tariffs as a US newest backer. And that is everything we have for Aeon's End Beyond the Reach from Indie Boards and Cards, which brings us to 2 more campaigns. We have Sprites and Sprouts, $138,000 raised, 1,500 backers, 21 days to go. Sprites and Sprouts from Open Owl Studios is a kind of tile-laying-esque game, not really tile-laying, but sort of tile-laying. You're kind of trying to harvest crops by placing tiles down into the central board, and then trying to get the right arrangement in order to harvest your own crops, all while manipulating the market with your own characters. This is coming to you from the world of Mythwind, so Open Owl Studios, who have done Mythwind, which is a very, solo-friendly, kind of, what's the word for it? Kind of, what is that very popular video game that Mythwind was compared to? Stardew Valley. Kind of the Stardew Valley of board games, so to speak. You build because you can build, you do things for fun, you just kind of grow and go through the stories and these characters and these events and all that. That's Mythwind. That's not Sprites and Sprouts. Sprites and Sprouts is in that world, but going with a more of a puzzly kind of, scoring, optimization, harvest your crops kind of situation based on the layout and your abilities in the game. 1 to 5 players, 69 minutes, ages 10 and up. The pledge levels for the game. Pledge levels for the game are going to be the $49 for the standard pledge. We have $79 for the deluxe pledge. The deluxe pledge gives you all kinds of extra content upgrades, plus the expansion. I'll show you that in a second. Then we have for $99, you get the premium pledge. That's giving you the extra miniatures on top of the pledge. For additional $20, you get some cool miniatures. Honestly, we have 774 going for the deluxe pledge. We have 111 going for the standard, and we have 391 going for the premium, which so far means that the deluxe pledge is the most sought after. Those extra miniatures are nice, but I don't know if enough people are biting at them. We have $207 for the collector's pledge, giving you all the stuff over here. 95 people going for that one, giving you just all the extra content for the game. As far as the pledges, let's show you what you get for that. We have the standard pledge over here, giving you the board, the garden boards, the player boards, the sprite meeples, all of these things over here in the regular version of the game. Then we have the deluxe pledge, gives you all of those, but the boards are upgraded to dual layered boards instead. These chits over here are upgraded to screen printed wooden tokens. These little cubes over here are upgraded to cuter cubes, not really cubes anymore, but you know what I mean, wooden pieces. The bags are upgraded to cooler bags, and then plus you also get the Sprites and Sprouts over here, the expansion as well on top. No, that's not there. There we go, the Fungus. You get the Fungus expansion as well on top of all that. So $20 gives you a whole lot of upgrades and gameplay content of the game, which is why it's the popular pledge. For $99, which is an additional $20, you get a bunch of miniatures over here that are going to be added to your game instead of those meeples, or I guess in addition, can be used in place of the sprite meeples in the game. They look cute, but for $20, a lot of people are just opting for the basic game instead. And then for the all-in gives you, well, all-in over here. We have playmats, we have pins, we have coloring books, stationery set, mythical event card packs, just a whole lot of extra things to the game. And again, fewer people are going for that. Most seem to be as interested in, give me the coolest version of this game as it is. Shipping is going to run you, where is the shipping over here? Is it the world? Nope. It's the project details. Nope. Somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Shipping. USA is going to be $18 to $25, and check your region if you want to see whatever else you're at. And then as far as tariffs, we understand this is a hard time in the board game industry. We have priced it in a way that guarantees fulfillment regardless, but focusing primarily with Shielded, we actively monitor the situation. We do not want to commit to any specific details until closer to the manufacturing date, which is a fancy way of saying maybe there'll be a tariff surcharge, maybe there won't. There are no guarantees. It kind of just depends on what happens. So back accordingly. I don't mean that's a bad thing. That's what most people are doing. I'm just making sure you're informed as to what your potential liability is when you back any of these games. And that brings us to our last campaign of the day. We have Mighty Shot, the ultimate blend of tactics and dexterity in a MOBA-inspired board game. 258 backers, $26,000 raised, 24 days to go. Coming to you from This Is a Game. Mighty Shot is basically Crokinole meets King of Tokyo. That's my quote. It's on the campaign page because that's what it is. This game is basically you have a two-player head-to-head kind of experience. You take control of these champions, and then you have their boards, you have their abilities, you have all the asymmetric things about them, and then you are shooting a Crokinole. That's what you're doing. You have your little sideboards where you're taking shots. As you get shots in the game, you actually have to take that shot on your sideboard, which means if you like Crokinole and you like King of Tokyo, this kind of has that feel. It very much feels like a mash 'em up, beat 'em up kind of game where it don't take itself too seriously, but also it is dexterity focused. Like if you can't make the shot, you're gonna have a hard time playing the game, and so it's it is Crokinole meets King of Tokyo at the end of the day. Pledge levels over here are going to be $142 for the Master Pledge. That gives you the base game, the expansions, the solo mode, all of that stuff over here. All stretch goal awards, all standees, acrylic over here. The game in general is acrylic, not miniatures, unless they get to a certain point, at which point they'll unlock miniatures as something players can buy. But right now, they're basically saying, hey, unless we get to a certain threshold, we just can't reliably and sustainably say that we're going to make miniatures if there's not enough demand for the molds and the printing and all of that. But $142 gets you basically all the stuff for the game as far as the gameplay content content, less miniatures. Again, there are no miniatures yet. For $53, you get the core game in the regular standees and cardboard mode. For $67, you get the acrylic standees, and then for $109, you get Deadeye, which gives you the core box containing the 4 champions, as well as the expansion of 2 additional champions, but you don't get the solo mode for that. So those are the various pledge levels you're looking at. As far as shipping is going to basically have you a 12 to 20 euro, up to 18 to 32 euro for the US, and then check your various region. And then as far as tariffs, to basically say, hey, we can't really be sure what's going to be happening, but there'll be 0 price impact to the non-US backers, and your US backers will have a tariff surcharge, but we'll see what happens if this is even relevant. And that is basically everything you have for Mighty Shot from This Is a Game. That is basically everything, which brings us to our picks of the week. Picks of the week, as usual, I have 2. I have my personal interest pick of the week, the game that I'm most personally interested in, as well as the value pick of the week, the game that I think is most likely to hold its value overall. As far as personal interest pick of the week, I'm going to go with Panda Spin, Mandate of Heaven, because I really like Panda Spin, and Mandate of Heaven feels like a perfect expansion to further add to what I want out of the game. So literally my review, like, this is the main thing I actually kind of wanted. I didn't know this was happening, and I'm happy to have it, because this is a game I enjoy, and content that literally addresses my main complaint is something that I am all for. As far as a game that's most likely to hold its value, frankly, I don't think anything here is an easy value pick. Sprites and Sprouts is probably the most likely overall, but even then, this has like a lower demand than I'd expect from an open allo game. That could be because of the tariff situation, the state of the world, I don't know. But I would say that I don't feel fully confident that anything here is guaranteed to hold its value by any shot. Sprites and Sprouts is just the closest one that I would say, especially for that deluxe edition. If it becomes popular enough, if it's well received, then this is at least very cute and coming from an established world that will make it more likely to hold its value. As far as upcoming campaigns, we have several, but the 2 I'm highlighting this week, we have Rewild South America, a semi-abstract strategy game, kind of like a Cascadia style game of building out your personal board while managing a hand of cards, coming to you from Mark Durr, who did Zoo Tycoon. That's going to be launching this week. And then we also have Bones Way Luminous Refuge from Red Kingdom Games, a post-apocalyptic story-based game coming to you from Red Kingdom. Beautiful art, beautiful production, launching this week as well. And that is everything. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one. Apparently, there's a huge sale down at the Lego store. People are lining up for blocks.